I want to talk to you about A Good Day to Be a Dog, this new K-drama that's based off a very famous webtoon starring Park Gu-young and Cha Eun-woo. Let's go. Hi, so this is Editing Monique. Before we get into the podcast episode, I just saw that Jungkook just did a dance challenge with Eunwoo on TikTok. So I have to clue that. How can I have a podcast and I'm talking specifically about A Good Day to Be a Dog, and then Eunwoo just does a dance challenge with Jungkook? Like, I had to include it. So for those that are watching via YouTube, here's a clip. Hopefully it's not going to get any copyright on it. Hi, I'm Monique. I am the host of Off by Purple podcast. In this podcast, I like to talk about, K-dramas that I love and enjoy and that are new. I like to talk about C-dramas a lot as well, and BTS, and so much more. Today's episode, I have to talk about A Good Day to Be a Dog, and the surprising results from me watching this. I genuinely didn't think I was gonna enjoy this show as much as I have already. The first 3 episodes are out at the time of filming this. There might be more by the time I post this, or maybe not. It depends how I feel. But I've watched the first 3 episodes, haven't read the famous webtoon that it was based off of, but I'm really surprised by it. I'm surprised by it, and I want to talk about just how warm and comforting it is, especially after watching K-dramas like My Dearest, which I will have an episode up about shortly, and The Worst of Evil, which I have already done a previous episode on, which has turned even more tense and more bloody, and it honestly has me like on pins and needles. I'm constantly a wreck after watching that show, and it's like my adrenaline spikes. So this is like a good palate cleanser of a show. So the 2 leads, as I mentioned, Park Gu-young, that plays the female lead, and Cha Eun-woo, who has a lot of interesting conversation around him being typecast, particularly in the more stoic, quiet characters that are just kind of slowly simmering in the background. I've noticed a little bit of chatter about that and about his acting talent in particular. I'm very indifferent. I have nothing against him as an actor, and I do know that I enjoyed him in True Beauty. I enjoyed True Beauty in general. I know it's extremely popular K-drama, and I know that there are some that have criticism towards it because they didn't like how it didn't really follow as closely the webtoon, which, as I'm aware, is still ongoing, or didn't like that it had like the classic second lead syndrome that was going on in it. But I know there's been some critiques on Cha Eun-woo's acting in particular, and I think he probably is being typecast. I think there's nothing wrong with being typecast as an actor. I think if you know your strengths and you know your wheelhouse, you kind of just go there and ride that all the way to the bank. I don't see anything wrong with that. But as far as him as being the more stoic character that isn't really flashy or showing it acting choices, that you really have to watch the facial expressions and what have you, I think I really like him in this show, and I think I like what he's doing here. I'll be honest, at first glance, because I didn't read the webtoon, I really wasn't interested. It just sounded really silly and slapstick, and don't get me wrong, I have definitely watched K-dramas in the past, definitely from like 2017 and earlier, that had that type of slapstick style element to K-dramas. But with this one, I was like, I don't know if I'm really gonna like that premise of someone turning into a dog. But the dog that they use in this show is just so damn cute. He's like just the most adorable little pooch that you'll ever see, and I just love the little face, and I actually enjoy the little CGI that the show uses to have that dog have a little bit more discernment as the female lead. basically with the premise of this show is that the female lead is cursed, and if she kisses someone, she turns into a dog every night at midnight. And she has 100 days to get that suitor that she kissed to kiss her back in dog form in order to stop this curse from playing out. And if she does not complete this mission in 100 days, then she's potentially stuck in dog form for life. And that's very interesting. And of course, the male lead is deathly afraid of dogs, so it becomes very problematic. What I didn't expect was that they were going to kind of start it off as not necessarily enemies to lovers, but just kind of have little misunderstandings. In the beginning of the show, the male lead is very cold towards Park Go-young's character, the female lead. She understandably is irritated by him because she doesn't understand what's his problem. They're both teachers, and I think they teach high school, and they just have basic misunderstanding of one another because the male lead is such a cold, aloof character. At first glance, a lot of his interactions with her come off really abrupt, like he's very uncomfortable with her and has very little patience for her. And she, being a newer teacher in the district, I think is very kind and very warm, and she tends to get along with everyone else, and it's bringing into like the whole grumpy sunshine trope, if you're familiar with that trope in like book romances. And I kind of like that he seemingly has this secretive crush on her, but because he's socially awkward, he doesn't really know how to show it. So he just comes off really nasty, but not really. He just comes off really cold. And even though JUNGKOOK is being typecasted in this, I do think that he was the best pick for this. And visually, they both look really amazing together. The chemistry is surprisingly good in this fantasy romance. I will tell you, I had a previous episode that I've already posted, which I was talking about K-dramas I've watched, completed, basically dropped, and new K-dramas coming out. And when I had mentioned A Good Day to Be a Dog initially, I was not the most positive towards it. And at the time, I didn't recognize actually Park Go-young, and because I actually watched her in the K-drama Celebrity, which I had my critiques of that show, but one of the positives I took away is that I actually really liked her acting. I thought she was really good and she was really grounded, and she was able to kind of play the hyper unrealistic, very glossy, weird, dark, seedy world of influencing in Celebrity. I just thought she was really good, and with that color change of her hair, it like changes her entire face in a way that she was almost unrecognizable to me in A Good Day to Be a Dog. And she comes off a lot sharper in Celebrity, whereas here she comes off really soft and cute. And I've already been bought into the world when she turns into a dog. The third episode in particular of this show really clinched it for me, because there was this great cliffhanger from the second episode where she gets turned into a dog again, and she runs into one of her high school students. He ends up getting in a lot of trouble. He was bullied by a set of other high schoolers that were, I guess, at a rival school, and they're just being typical jerks, and they get into a fight, an altercation after hours off of school property, and he ends up in a police station with these bullies. And instead of calling his guardian, he calls her to kind of escort him because his parents aren't currently in the picture. I think in the show they explained it that his parents are studying or have some business affairs over in Australia, so he's basically there with a guardian, and the guardian at that point wasn't revealed yet. So she comes to the police station and she basically bails him out, and these kids were, or one kid, a bully in particular, who's really snotty, his mom comes to collect him, and she does the whole parent that isn't really involved and excuses her son's bad behavior. and the female lead dresses her down, and it's kind of like a triumphant moment. And then she clicks the high schooler and she's like, okay, we're good. I need to go now because it's getting close to midnight. And he's like, no, let me escort you. No, let me help you. Like, I really appreciate what you did. And she's like, no, get the hell away from me. I'm good. Like, just go home. And then she's like running through the streets. And this kid like pops up like a whack-a-mole. He's like, hey there. And she's like, oh, you're still around? And it's so funny because then he actually, this is going into a lot of spoilers, he sees her literally transform into this cute little pooch right in front of his eyes, and he takes her home with him, and he's so enamored by her in her dog form, and puts her up in his bedroom on his bed and then fall asleep beside her, only for them to wake up in the morning time. And like the last shot, I think in episode 2, was the guardian coming in to check on them. And of course, who do you think the guardian is? The guardian is obviously JUNGKOOK, the male lead's character. And he walks in and he sees the two of them in bed, which is like the worst, most precarious position to be in as, you know, an adult with like a high schooler. And that's how they leave the cliffhanger for episode 2. And in episode 3, obviously everything is explained, everything is straightened out. But I thought it was just so funny. And then episode 3, you get to see the ice melt from the male lead a lot, and you really start to see the chemistry form. And throughout the episode, she kind of protects him in a way because she becomes aware of his phobia of dogs, which is tied to him being bullied in the past. And there's like there's a teacher that brings a dog onto school grounds, and of course he's freaking the hell out, right? And she does all this slapstick comedy, all this physical comedy to get him out of the way. And it's actually super entertaining. It's very comforting. It's like the perfect time for this drama to have been released in the fall. And it is such a great palate cleanser. If you're watching like a super heavy K-drama or a C-drama, it is such a good drama to just kind of mellow you out, and the chemistry is there, and I'm really surprised. I really didn't expect much from this show at all, and it's already have become like one of my favorites that I've watched recently. And it's very rare nowadays that I'm like anticipating another episode. Like, I've watched plenty of K-dramas this year and I've enjoyed some, was kind of meh on others, and it's just rare for me to be impatient for the new episode to drop, because this is actually airing once a week. So it's not like you're getting a bunch of episodes or like 2 episodes per week. So I'm actually really yearning for a new episode, which I did not expect at all. So this is like the surprise hit for me. I really am enjoying it, and I genuinely believe I'll be doing more episodes in the future about this. I might be wrong. I think it might be a 16 episode series, but maybe not. I hope it is 16. I think it's on a good track so far, and I like the premise of her basically being like the Prince and the Frog scenario, where she needs a kiss by midnight, or you know, trouble prevails. I like that there's foreshadowing already with one of the secondary characters who I think has a tie to their past, because always in these K-dramas there has to be some past connection. There has to be some past connection. It just can't be present day stuff. But I think the curse in particular is linked to this particular secondary character who seems really shady, who is like the male lead's best friend in the show, who the female lead initially had a crush on before there was like this massive misunderstanding. So I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out. So that's it for my spiel and me just rambling on about A Good Day to Be a Dog. Definitely look forward to future episodes about me talking about this and other K-dramas like My Dearest, that is currently stressing me out. I am on episode 11 of that show, and oh my god. There are some choices that were made. I don't know. There are some choices that were made. And then, of course, The Worst of Evil, which is probably the most stressful and intense K-drama that's airing right now. I think it probably would have been smarter for me to have waited for the entire series to have been released before getting into that one, because it's stressing me out. But that one's a 12-episode arc, and it's going to be wrapping up. So anyway, thank you for joining me. If you are listening to this via Spotify, I thank you very much. Please share with your friends that enjoy K-dramas, C-dramas, and BTS. And if you're watching this on YouTube, I appreciate you. Please share as well with those K-drama, C-drama lovers. And until the next episode, I'll see ya.